I am a 30-year-old male. I run my own home renovation and smart security business. I started it about 5 years ago when I got sick of working for other people who did not know about actual security systems. Now I do everything from basic home automation to full smart house setups for people who want their garage door to recognize their car from 3 blocks away. It is not glamorous work, but I make decent money. Like really decent money. Enough to own my house outright, drive a truck that is not falling apart, and still have money left over for actual fun stuff. I work my ass off for it though, usually 50 to 60 hours a week, crawling through attics, running cable, programming systems that cost more than most people's cars. I have been dating this girl, Camille, a 28-year-old female, for 3 years. She works in marketing for some nonprofit that probably does not actually help anyone, but makes rich people feel better about their tax write-offs. But whatever, she seemed cool when we met. Put together, funny, kind of intense, and that I schedule my free time way. Her sister Sophie once joked that Camille was the kind of person who could make a spreadsheet about feelings. And honestly, that tracked. Here is the thing though, Camille comes from serious wealth. Like the kind where her family's last name is on buildings downtown, and her great-grandfather probably owned half the state at some point. She is a trust fund baby, with a trust fund that has its own trust fund. You know what I mean? We had been living together for about 8 months when this whole thing went down. She moved into my place because apparently her apartment was too small, but really I think she just wanted to see what it was like living with someone who actually pays their own bills. Her family, though, that is where things got complicated. Camille's mom, Lorraine, is this high-end interior designer who treats people like furniture. Either you match her aesthetic or you are getting replaced with something better. The woman has this way of looking at you like she is calculating your net worth and finding it disappointing. Ever since Camille's dad died 2 years ago, some kind of sudden heart thing, Lorraine has been running the family like a chief executive officer. She makes all the decisions, controls all the money, decides who is worthy of the family name. And let me tell you, a guy who installs security cameras for a living was not exactly what she had in mind for her precious daughter. The first time I met Lorraine was at some family dinner about 6 months into dating Camille. I showed up in my best clothes, clean jeans, a nice button-down, boots that were not covered in drywall dust. I thought I looked pretty good. Lorraine gave me this handshake that lasted exactly 1 second, and this smile that could freeze beer. "So, you are Atlas," she says. "Camille tells me you work with your hands." The way she said it, you would think I was digging ditches for a living. "I run a security and renovation business." "Yeah, how interesting." Then she immediately turned to talk to someone else. That was pretty much every interaction we had. She would ask questions that sounded polite, but were really just ways to point out that I was not good enough. "Oh, you did not go to college? How refreshing. You work weekends? Well, I suppose someone has to. You live in that neighborhood? I am sure it is very authentic." Camille would always apologize afterward. "Sorry about Mom. She is just protective. Do not take it personally. She is still dealing with Dad's death. She will warm up to you eventually. I figured she was just trying to keep the peace." Rich families are weird about this stuff, right? They want their kids to marry other rich kids to keep the money in the right circles. But I thought what Camille and I had was strong enough to get past all that status nonsense. Looking back now, I should have noticed that Camille never actually defended me to her mom. She just changed the subject when Lorraine made her little comments about suitable partners and thinking about the future. Never once did she tell her mom to back off or that she was happy with me. The whole thing probably would have gone on like that indefinitely. Me thinking we were solid while her family tolerated me like an embarrassing phase she would eventually outgrow. But then she invited me to their lake house for a weekend and everything fell apart in the most spectacular way possible. I should have known something was up when she kept talking about how important this weekend would be, how it would be good for everyone to spend quality time together. All those phrases that sound nice but really mean we are about to mess with your life. But I was excited. Honestly, I thought maybe this was my chance to finally win over her mom. Show them I was not just some random contractor, that I could fit into their world if they gave me a shot. Man, was I wrong about that. The lake house is exactly what you would expect from people with too much money and too much time. A massive log cabin thing right on the water, a private dock, a guest house that is bigger than most people's actual houses. The kind of place where you could probably fit 3 normal families, but they use it for weekend getaways. Lorraine meets us at the front door with this smile that looks like she practiced it in the mirror. She is dressed in what I am pretty sure are designer jeans and some kind of expensive-looking sweater that probably costs more than I make in 1 week. "Atlas, so wonderful to see you." She actually hugged me, which threw me off, because usually I get the dead fish handshake treatment. "I am so glad you could join us for the weekend. Camille looks as surprised as I feel. Her mom has never been this friendly to me before, but I figure, hey, maybe she really is trying to turn over a new leaf. That is when Lorraine starts the honey-do list. Oh, Atlas. Perfect timing. I have been having so many issues with things around here. The dock has been making these awful creaking sounds when anyone walks on it, and something is wrong with the internet. It cuts out constantly. Plus, the outdoor lighting system has not been working properly for weeks. She says it like she is asking for favors, but there is this expectation in her voice. Like, of course, I am going to spend my vacation fixing her stuff, because that is what I do, right? Camille jumps in. Mom, we just got here. Maybe Atlas wants to relax first. Oh, of course, I am sorry. I do not mean right now, just whenever you have a chance. This weekend. I know how good you are with these things. So, now I am the weekend maintenance crew. Cool. Should have brought my tool belt instead of swim trunks. We get settled in the main house. Camille seems excited talking about all the stuff we can do, how we should rent a boat tomorrow, maybe have a bonfire on the beach. That is when the second car shows up. I am unpacking in the bedroom when I hear another vehicle in the driveway. I look out the window and there is this silver Audi pulling up like it owns the place. Out steps this guy who looks like he walked out of a Men's Health magazine. Perfect hair, expensive casual clothes, the kind of watch that costs more than my truck. Camille is downstairs talking with her mom when this happens. So I head down to see what is going on. The guy is already inside hugging Lorraine like they are old friends. Darren, what a wonderful surprise. Lorraine is practically glowing. That is when I notice Camille's reaction. She is doing this thing where she acts surprised, but it is obviously fake, like community theater level acting. Oh my God, Darren, what are you doing here? I was visiting friends up in Millfield and remembered you guys had the lake house up here. Thought I would stop by and say hello. He has this smooth voice like he practices talking in the mirror. Turns out Darren works in finance for some big firm downtown. He went to the same prep school as Camille's cousin. His family has been friends with Lorraine's family for generations. And apparently he has been asking about Camille, according to Lorraine's not-so-subtle hints. What a coincidence that he shows up the same weekend I am here, right? Lorraine immediately invites him to stay for dinner, then for the evening, then, hey, why does not he just stay the whole weekend since he is already here? They have got plenty of room. I am standing there watching this whole thing play out like some kind of awkward theater performance. Camille is playing along perfectly, acting surprised, asking about his work, laughing at his stories about mutual friends I have never heard of. Meanwhile, I am the guy who carries bags and fixes things. Dinner that first night was a master class in making someone feel like an outsider. They are all talking about people I do not know, places I have never been, experiences I am not part of, prep school memories, family, friends, exclusive clubs, expensive vacations. Every time I try to join the conversation, it somehow shifts to something I cannot contribute to. Professional networking among families I had never heard of, some charity gala where everyone wore masks and donated ridiculous amounts of money to causes they probably forgot about the next week. Darren is telling stories about his latest ski trip to some resort that apparently you need connections just to book. Camille is hanging on every word like he is describing the cure for cancer instead of falling down a mountain for fun. The powder was incredible this year, he is saying, though the Aprex ski was not quite what it used to be. I'm sitting there thinking, what the hell is a praise ski? Sounds like something you would order at Starbucks. But Camille knows exactly what he is talking about. They are bonding over shared experiences of wealth that I am not part of. Inside jokes about expensive problems, complaints about things most people would consider luxuries. The whole time, Lorraine is watching this interaction like she is directing a play, asking Darren questions designed to showcase how successful and connected he is, bringing up Camille's interests in ways that give him openings to be charming. I spent most of dinner just eating and watching this performance. By the time we are having dessert, I am starting to get the picture. This was not a family bonding weekend. This was an audition, and I was not the one trying out for the lead role. That night, lying in bed next to Camille, I almost said something about the whole setup, but she seemed tired and I figured maybe I was just being paranoid. Maybe Darren really did just happen to be in the area. Besides, what was I going to say? Hey, I think your mom orchestrated this whole thing to set you up with finance, brother. It sounded crazy even in my head. So I kept my mouth shut and went to sleep, hoping tomorrow would be better. Well, it was not. Saturday morning, I woke up to someone knocking on our bedroom door at 7 a.m. Camille is still dead asleep, so I threw on some clothes and found Lorraine standing there with her morning coffee, looking like she has been up for hours. Atlas, I am so sorry to wake you, but I am really worried about that dock. Could you take a look when you get a chance? So much for sleeping in on vacation, but whatever. I figured I will get it done quick and then maybe we can actually enjoy the weekend. I head down to check out the dock situation. Nothing too complicated, but I am going to have to get in the water to fix it properly. I'm about 20 minutes into the repair, half submerged and working on the underwater bolts, when I hear voices from the deck above me. They probably do not realize how well sound travels over water. Or maybe they just forgot I was down here. He seems like a nice enough young man, Lorraine is saying. But honestly, Camille, what kind of future can someone like that provide? My hands freeze on the wrench I am holding. Mom, please, Camille's voice, but she sounds tired, not defensive. I am just being practical, dear. You are 28 years old. Do you really want to be with someone who crawls around under docks for a living? Darren's voice chimes in. She deserves better than a handyman, Mrs. Patterson. Someone with ambition, education, connections. Wait, what? How long has this conversation been going on exactly? Lorraine continues. Atlas is fine for what he is, but he is not husband material. Not for someone like you. I am floating there in cold lake water, listening to them discuss my inadequacies like I am not even a real person. He works hard, Camille says weakly. So do construction workers and plumbers, Darren replies. That does not mean you marry them. They all laugh at that, including Camille. Remember when you dated Darren senior year? Lorraine asks. Now that was a proper relationship. Two people from similar backgrounds with similar goals. Wait, what? They dated? That was news to me. No one ever mentioned that before. Not once. Camille never brought it up, not even in passing. And now here is her mom bringing it up over brunch like it is common family trivia. I just kept my face neutral, but inside something twisted. I am trying to focus on the bolt I am supposed to be tightening, but my hands are shaking now. This is not just casual conversation. This is them planning my replacement right over my head. Atlas is just temporary, is not he? Lorraine asks. A phase you are going through. Another pause, a longer one this time. I guess so, Camille finally says. I mean, we are so different. He does not understand my world at all. I finish the underwater work as quietly as possible and swim to the far side of the dock where they cannot see me. My chest feels tight, and it is not from holding my breath. When I finally climb back up to the deck, they are all smiles and casual conversation about brunch plans like they were not just discussing how to dump me 5 minutes ago. How did it go, babe? Camille asks, not meeting my eyes. All set, dock solid now. Wonderful. You are such a lifesaver, Lorraine beams. That night, lying in bed next to Camille, I do not say anything about what I heard. What is the point? She has already made her choice. They all have. I wait until she is asleep. Then I get up and start packing quietly, efficiently. Everything I brought goes back in my bag. I double-check that I have not left anything behind. Around 5 a.m., I carry my stuff out to the truck and drive away. I do not leave a note. I do not say goodbye. I do not wake anyone up. I just disappear like the temporary phase I apparently was. The drive home gives me 2 hours to think about everything I heard. How they talked about me like I was furniture they were replacing. How easily Camille agreed that I was just a phase. How relieved she sounded to have an excuse to end things. The second I pulled into my driveway, I did not sit down. I did not take a breath. I just got out of the truck and walked inside like a man clocking into a job he did not want but needed to finish. The air in the house was still too clean, too quiet, and that silence hit different once you knew what it was replacing. I did not waste time. I grabbed some moving boxes from the garage, brought in the big roll of contractor trash bags, and started clearing Camille's stuff like I was gutting a job site. Not in anger, just cold, efficient purpose. Everything she had in my place went straight into the boxes. She would know exactly what they were when she saw them. Every drawer, every inch of space she had tried to soften was cleared out and condensed into a lineup of boxes and bags stacked right by the front door. It was not messy or dramatic. It looked like she had hired a professional moving crew with no sense of nostalgia. At one point, I picked up her journal off the nightstand. This leather-bound thing she always insisted was for gratitude and mental clarity. I did not open it. I did not care to. But as I turned to toss it into a box, something slid out and hit the floor. A photo. Not just any photo. Them, Camille and Darren, arms around each other, smiling in some upscale bar or rooftop lounge. The kind of lighting that screamed exclusivity. He had his hand on her waist like it belonged there. I stared at it for maybe half a second. No rage, no spiral, just confirmation. The kind of proof that does not need context. It slid back into the journal like it had never fallen, and I dropped the whole thing into a box with everything else. If she ever wondered how I knew, that was how. And I kept packing like it was just another Tuesday. About 3 hours later, my phone lit up. A text from Camille. "Where are you?" Short, like she already knew something was off but could not figure out what yet. I stared at it for a second, then replied, "I left." That was it. I did not owe her a speech. Whatever she needed to know, she could probably piece together from the silence. The typing bubbles popped up immediately. What? Why? Then did something happen? And then, "Can you please call me?" I locked the phone and tossed it on the counter. Let her wonder. She had no idea I had heard the whole lakeside planning session. Her, Lorraine, and Darren openly discussing how I did not fit, how I was not husband material, how I was just a phase she was trying to outgrow, like I was a seasonal hoodie instead of a human being. I shut my phone off and went to bed. No music, no television. Just laid there staring at the ceiling, listening to the hum of the fridge and the creaks in the wall. Every sound sharper without someone tossing and turning next to me. And I did not miss it. Not the way I thought I would. I was not angry. I was not sad. I was just done. The kind of done you do not come back from. Next morning, when I turned my phone back on, there were more messages, a couple missed calls. The last text was from around midnight. "I am coming back. We need to talk." No apology, no explanation, just a default crisis mode, like she thought she could still control the narrative. I did not respond. Let her come back. Let her see what her words had earned. She did not show up that day. Probably spent it trying to come up with a version of the truth that did not sound as bad out loud. Or maybe Darren offered her a second opinion. It did not matter. That ship had already sunk, and I was not standing on the dock waving goodbye. The next morning, there was a knock at the door just as I was finishing my coffee. I did not rush to answer it. Let her wait a second. When I finally opened it, there she was standing on my porch, in joggers, a hoodie, and that disheveled post-breakup look people get when they realize they might have gambled too hard on the wrong card. She had her phone in one hand, her car keys in the other, and that wide-eyed look like she just stumbled into a test she forgot to study for. And then she saw the boxes. Her face froze. "You packed my stuff?" Her voice cracked slightly, like she was not sure if she was angry, confused, or just embarrassed. I leaned against the doorframe and did not bother nodding. I shrugged. "You said I was a phase, Camille." Her eyes went wide and her mouth opened like she wanted to deny it, but could not figure out which part I actually heard. "You were under the dock," she asked quietly. "I was in the water," I replied. "Did not need to be under anything." "You were loud." She hesitated like she wanted to step inside, but I did not move. The doorway stayed blocked. I did not need her crossing that line. She glanced at the boxes again and took a step forward. "Atlas." It was not what it sounded like. I cut her off with one sentence, then explained it to someone who did not hear it. That one hit hard. Her shoulders dropped and her mouth opened again, but no words came out. She just stood there, blinking, looking at her life reduced to boxes on a mat. "I messed up," she said. I shook my head. "No, you made a choice. You aligned yourself with people who laughed while I was fixing things for them. You did not mess up. You signed off on it." She looked like she wanted to argue, like she had this whole story ready, but none of it sounded right in her head anymore. And then came the part I was waiting for, when she realized she was not getting back in. Her eyes darted past me toward the living room, like maybe the couch would still have her throw blanket or her favorite mug would still be on the counter, but it was all gone, scrubbed clean. "I did not mean what I said," she whispered. I stayed still. "I did not either," I said, "when I told you I trusted you." That shut everything down. She looked down, then slowly bent to grab one of the smaller boxes. "I will get the rest later," she mumbled. "You will not," I said. "Everything that belongs to you is right here. If you remember anything else, donate it." She did not look at me after that. Just picked up 2 boxes, walked them to her car, came back, grabbed the rest. She did not slam the door, did not cry, did not yell. I think she wanted to, but maybe part of her knew this was not just some fight. This was the end. When the last box was gone, I closed the door behind her without a word. I did not watch her drive away. I did not check the peephole. I just sat back down, finished my coffee, and finally exhaled. That kind of exhale that feels like you have been holding your breath for years. Later that night, she sent one last message. It just said, "I really thought we had a future." I read it once, archived the thread, and deleted her contact. No reply, no hate, just nothing. I thought that was it. The kind of clean break you do not argue with. The air in my house got quieter, but not heavy, just clear, like someone finally shut off a background radio that had been buzzing for too long. I slept hard that night, not because I was exhausted, but because I was not tense anymore. No second guessing, no playing detective with mixed signals, just me, my tools, and a schedule that did not involve pretending someone respected me. Work became even more of an anchor. I was not just clocking in, I was expanding. That energy I used to waste trying to decode Camille's silence or duck Lorraine's condescending jabs, I redirected all of it. My business had already been running steady, but I decided to make it move like it had something to prove. I started pushing smart home packages to new developers, reached out to a few old clients who had connections, and updated my branding. Clean, direct, no fluff, just like me. And then in the middle of that new groove, I got a text from an unknown number. It said, "Hey, Atlas, this is Sophie. Can I talk to you?" Camille's younger sister. She was the quiet one, the only person in that whole family who ever looked me in the eye without acting like she was inspecting a smudge on designer glass. I responded. "Go ahead." She did not waste time. She said she did not want to pick sides, but she needed to tell me something. According to her, Lorraine had been planning that lake house weekend for weeks. It was not spontaneous. It was not casual. It was scripted. The dock repairs, all real, but conveniently exaggerated to get me busy while they staged their little social experiment. Darren showing up? Not a coincidence. He had been invited by Lorraine. She had even hinted that if things went smoothly, she would help him get a position at a board she had influence over. "She wants Camille with Darren," Sophie said, like it was just a casual statement. But I could tell from her tone she hated how it all went down. "She thinks you were never going to fit." She said it straight to my face. "Atlas is useful, but Darren is legacy." I did not respond right away, just let that settle. Not because it shocked me, but because it confirmed everything I already knew in my gut. The way they laughed at dinner like I was not sitting there. The accidental nostalgia trip Camille and Darren kept dipping into. Lorraine smiling like a wolf in pearls. It all made sense now. Sophie said she did not know Camille had gone along with it until afterward. That Camille did not just stay quiet. She approved the whole thing. She did not stop at Atlas. "And I am sorry you had to hear it that way," Sophie said. I told her thanks. That was it. I appreciated her saying something when no one else had the spine to do it, but I did not need to talk about it. I did not need her to defend Camille or walk me through her feelings. I had already packed those up and left them at the door. After that call, I did not feel anger, just clarity. Sophie was not looking for forgiveness. She was trying to clear her own conscience, and to be honest, I did not blame her. She did not owe me anything, but she stepped up and said what needed saying. That is more than I can say for most people. From there, my life did not pause. It launched. Within the next 2 weeks, I closed a deal with a high-end real estate group. 10 new luxury builds, each one getting full smart home installs, lighting, security, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning sync, voice control, the works. They gave me full creative control. No micromanaging, no fake enthusiasm, just respect and a budget. Somewhere in the middle of all that, I saw Camille again. Total accident. I was at a new rooftop spot with a supplier checking out a prototype lighting system, and there she was, 3 tables away. Darren next to her, scrolling through his phone like she was not even there. They looked like a couple that took pretty photos but did not speak between them. She noticed me halfway through my sandwich. Her whole expression dropped like she just remembered something important and unwanted. I did not react, just went back to talking specs with the supplier. Nothing says I am over it like being too busy for eye contact. She did not approach, but that night I got a text. I did not recognize the number until I read, "I saw you today. You look good." I have been thinking about what I said and I am sorry, truly. She kept going. Said she did not mean to hurt me. Said her mom pushed her into things. Said she did not stop it because she was scared. I blocked the number. I did not read the rest. Camille might have felt sorry, but regret does not hit the same when you already sold someone out. And I was not the same guy who fixed docs while people laughed behind his back. I was not waiting for apologies or chasing closure. I had receipts now. Success, peace, real respect from clients, from my crew, and most importantly, from myself. About 1 week later, I saw Lorraine at the grocery store. I was grabbing some basics, just restocking between installs when I turned the corner by the produce section. And there she was, wearing oversized sunglasses indoors, holding a basket with exactly 1 avocado and a bottle of overpriced water like she was posing for an invisible camera crew. She spotted me instantly and lit up with that polished smile, the kind that does not reach the eyes, like she was greeting someone from her homeowners association committee, not the guy she once called not husband material. "Atlas," she said, drawing it out like it was some nostalgic memory. What a surprise. I did not say anything, just nodded once, not rude, just unbothered. She stepped closer. "I have been hearing about you," she said, voice dipped in that artificial warmth. "Your business is really taking off, is not it? One of the women from my book club mentioned your work, said her nephew's place has your system." Said, "It is quite impressive." I kept my hands on the cart handle. I did not even blink. I just let her talk. She smiled tighter. "Camille still talks about you, you know. Says you have grown a lot. Says she always knew you had potential." That is when I almost laughed, but not in the way she would have liked. Potential, like I was a startup she passed on before an IPO. I finally looked at her then, really looked, and it hit me. Lorraine was not apologizing to make peace. She was testing the waters, seeing if my new success meant I was someone worth being on speaking terms with again. Not because she respected me, but because I was not the temporary phase anymore. I was starting to look permanent and profitable. I did not give her the satisfaction. No anger, no sarcasm, no smirk, just a stare. Cold, quiet, unapologetic. Then I pushed my cart forward and walked past her like she was just another stranger hogging the aisle. That is how you end things with people who thought you needed their approval. Then 3 weeks later, I got a call from Sophie. It was early morning. I was in my truck parked outside a supplier's warehouse, waiting for them to open. Her name popped up, and for a second I almost let it go to voicemail, but something told me to pick up. "Atlas," she said. "No small talk, just straight to it. You are going to want to hear this." I braced myself, not because I expected anything emotional. Sophie was not like that. But because anytime someone opens a call like that, you know they are holding something heavy. "Darren got arrested," she said. "Yesterday." "For what?" "Fraud," she replied. "Like real federal level stuff. Securities violations, insider trading. The firm he works at got raided. Apparently, he was passing info to some offshore group for kickbacks. It is all over the business feeds now." I pulled out my phone and started searching while she talked. Sure enough, there it was. Darren Foster, investment analyst, arrested as part of a financial crimes probe. The Securities and Exchange Commission, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Multiple firms involved, not just some casual screw-up. This was serious. Prison time, asset seizure, the whole 9 yards. "And Camille?" I asked. "She is freaking out," Sophie said. "Everyone is pretending they did not know anything, but come on. Mom introduced them. She vouched for him at every family event. Camille has been playing the supportive girlfriend this whole time. Now she is trying to pretend she was just blindsided." I let out a low breath. Not a laugh, just that sound you make when a puzzle finally finishes itself without your help. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked her. Sophie paused for a second. "Because I know she is going to come to you next. She is already talking like she made a mistake. I just figured you deserved a heads up." And she was right. Not even 24 hours later, Camille showed up on my doorstep. Same porch, same polished look, except this time the shine did not mean power. It meant desperation. Her face looked worn, not from crying, but from scrambling, like someone who just realized her golden ticket had been counterfeit all along. "Hey," she said, voice softer than I remembered. I did not say anything, just leaned on the doorframe, arms crossed. "I know I do not deserve it, but I needed to talk to you. I did not know what Darren was doing. None of us did. He lied to everyone." I stayed silent. Let her ramble. "He is probably going to prison," she said, eyes darting around like she was not sure how to stand anymore. "The accounts are frozen. His condo is under investigation. It is all falling apart." I nodded once, not sympathy, just acknowledgement. And then came the part I expected, the pivot. "I keep thinking about you," she said. "About how you never lied. How you never had to fake being someone you were not. You always showed up. You always had my back." She stepped closer. "I messed up. You were the real thing. And I was too blind to see it. It was not even dramatic. She did not cry. She did not plead. She just stood there waiting for a sliver of mercy. And I could tell she thought the scandal was her rock bottom. But she had not hit it yet because I did not flinch. I did not move. I did not invite her in. "You stood on a dock with a criminal and laughed while he called me beneath you," I said, calm as ever. "You were not blind, Camille. You just liked the view better from up there." Her face cracked then, just slightly. "I did not know." "You did not want to know," I cut in. "You thought money made someone safe. You thought connections made someone real. Now you are learning the same people who build ladders can burn them down just as fast." She stared down at the porch for a while like the wood was going to give her the words. Eventually, she said she was sorry, but not in a way that meant anything. She was not sorry for what she did. She was sorry Darren got caught and her safety net vanished. Now she was standing in front of the one person who never lied, hoping for some kind of comfort. I did not say anything, just let the silence do the talking. Then came the classic line, "She missed me." But I did not miss who she was when she had me. We were even now. She had regret, I had peace. She blinked like she wanted to argue, but nothing came out. I just pushed the door halfway closed. She bet on appearances. I built something real, and one of us held up, and then I closed the door. That was the last time I saw her. And Lorraine, word got around. She tried to help Darren with character references before the arrest. Apparently, the federal agents did not like that. One of her interior design contracts got quietly pulled by a longtime client. Rich circles talk fast when reputations rot. Sophie texted me again after that. Just a simple line. You won without lifting a finger. I smiled, but I did not reply because it was not about winning. It was about walking away with your integrity while everyone else tripped.